Chapter 11, Man and Natural Environment. Introduction. People living in cities have a particular lifestyle. People living in villages have a different lifestyle. Tribals living in forests have an entirely different lifestyle. Why do we find differences in lifestyles? There are differences in lifestyles of people because they are all surrounded by different living conditions in different places. The living condition that surrounds man in a particular place and affects the lifestyle of that place is known as environment. Environment includes biotic components, that is, living components, and abiotic components, that is, non-living components, as well as all the forms of energy. Classification of environment. Environment can be broadly classified into 1. Natural environment and 2. Cultural environment. Let us try to get some information about the types of environment. Natural environment. Certain components of the environment, such as landforms, climate, water, minerals, soils, sunlight, plants, and animals, have come into existence naturally. Such components of the environment constitute the natural environment. All these components affect the living world directly or indirectly. Cultural environment. By using natural resources, man has built houses, roads, bridges, dams, and many other things. All these are meant to make man's life better. All these man-made components are included in the cultural environment. Energy transfer. We have discussed how an ecosystem functions. If you study very carefully, what is happening in every ecosystem is energy transfer. Energy is obtained from the sun and is transferred from one living organism to another, or from one level to another. Let us try to understand this concept in detail. Food chain. Producers produce food with the help of solar energy. Food is nothing but energy. This energy is transferred from producers to primary, secondary, and tertiary consumers, as well as to the decomposers. The decomposers finally return the energy to the environment. This completes the energy cycle. This sequential transfer of energy in the form of food is called the food chain. In other words, energy is transferred from one level to another level. These levels include producer level, primary consumer level, secondary consumer level, tertiary consumer level, and decomposers level. These levels of food transfer are called trophic levels. Food web. Look at this diagram. In this diagram, the biotic waste is not eaten only by one living organism. Here, for example, molds. And molds are eaten by only one living organism. Here, for example, beetle. If an organism eats and is eaten by only one type of organism, it is called a simple food chain. On the other hand, we can clearly see that biotic waste is eaten by many organisms, and those organisms are eaten by many other organisms. This food chain is called a complex food chain. A complex food chain also is called the food web. Food pyramid. In an ecosystem, energy is transferred through different levels. That is, trophic levels such as producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. In the process of energy transfer, some of the energy is lost at each level. As a result, while moving from producer to different types of consumer, there is a decrease in the availability of energy. Therefore, the number of organisms and the amount of biomass decrease at each trophic level. A diagrammatic representation of this process appears like a pyramid. This pyramid is called food pyramid. If the number of organisms or quantity of biomass at any level in the pyramid is increased or decreased, it has an effect on the organisms at other levels. For example, if the human population, tertiary consumers, increases, a larger amount of producers and lower level consumers will be used up as food. That means the lower trophic levels are affected.